أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. Human being is made up of two matters. One is outer body, the other is his soul, ruh. And the ruh is the main part in a person. It's like a machine engine in a car. Just like that there is an engine and a body. So if the engine is good condition, then it will drive the car will be useful. And if the outer body is very good, but the engine is dead, then that car is of no use. Exactly in the same way is a human being. One is our outer body, our face, our hands, feet, and other, the driving power is a person's heart, which is called ruh, aql, nafs. So these are different words. Whatever is the condition of the ruh or the nafs, it will drive the person according to that. The two, one is action and one is character, akhlaq. The actions are carried out by the body, hands, feet, tongue, etc. But all these organs, limbs, they are driven and controlled by the heart and the nafs. So what in the nafs, the character is in the nafs, good and bad. If the character in the nafs are good, then inshallah good actions will come out of that person. And if the condition of the heart is bad, then it will command the body, hands, feet to act accordingly, and bad actions will come out of that person. So amongst good and bad character is humbleness. It's amongst the good character. And opposite of that is pride, kibr, takabbur. So the originality of that is in the heart. Takabbur, pride, vanity, arrogance, that is in the heart. But it shows up in a person's action, his behavior, his speaking, and his treating other people in an impolite way, rude way, careless way. So that shows that the person has pride in him. And the opposite of pride is tawazu, humbleness. So humbleness is also in the heart. But we cannot see directly these characters, this akhlaq. The person's action, they so. So if a person, he has humbleness in him, in his heart, his behavior with people will be a politeness, of softness, and respect and honor. So this is something very, very important to know and acquire in ourselves. Control of the nafs. Acquire good character in the nafs and get rid of bad character which are in the heart. So among the bad character is takabbur, pride, arrogance, I'm better than everyone, and he is nothing. So that attitude is a sign of pride in a person. And opposite of that, tawazu, that person thinks less of himself and he has respect, honor for the people. So nevertheless, a person's actions and behavior is according to the condition of his heart. And amongst the condition of the heart is takabbur, pride, and tawazu. Takabbur is something which is disliked by Allah Ta'ala. Inayatullah la yuhibbul mustakbirin. Allah Ta'ala does not like the proudful people. And opposite of that is humbleness, which Allah Ta'ala likes from us, human beings and people. So what is pride? What is the reality of pride? What is humbleness? How it can be acquired? Inshallah Ta'ala, we will read through this topic and we can check ourselves. Because they are hidden matters that are very, very difficult to recognize. This is why, just like a surgeon, a consultant, so he recognizes the deep illnesses, in the same way is here. For a person himself, it is usually very, very difficult to recognize himself, the condition of his heart. Nevertheless, inshallah, we read and we can look into ourselves. that of these, which do I have in myself? If there is a kibr, pride, how should I take it out? And if it's humbleness, then how can I make it stronger and safeguard it? Haq Ta'ala फरमाते हैं सअस्रिफु अन आयाति अल्लज़ीना यतकब्बरूना फिल अर्दि बिग़ैरिल हक़, यानी कुरान समझने से मैं उन लोगों को फेर देता हूँ जो ज़मीन में नाहक तकब्बुर करते हैं और अपने आप को समझते हैं कि वो बेहतरीन मखलूक हैं. The translation of this verse, Allah Ta'ala says that I turn away the heart of people who are proudful on the earth and who think they are the best of the people and there is no fault in him. So pride, it stops a person from understanding the truth, accepting the truth. The downfall of shaitan, it came because of pride. Aba wastakbara wa kana minal kafirin. He refused, so that is an outer action. But the reason behind that outer action of not making sajda is takbara. He took himself to be big, better than Adam alayhi salam. He said with his tongue, Ana khayru minhu, I'm better than him. So this attitude, this thought of him, that I'm better than Adam alayhi salam, that was a kibr in the heart. And the out effect of that, it stops him from fulfilling the command of Allah Ta'ala and making sajda to Adam alayhi salam. So nevertheless, a pride, it becomes a barrier between a person and understanding Quran. It becomes an invisible layer, just said before, like a cling film. You can't see a cling film if it's wrapped around a sponge, but as the cling film stops anything going into the sponge, in the same way these bad traits, they become barrier from the Quran Sharif going into the heart. और उनका वो इस्तेहकाक है जो दूसरों को नहीं, that they think we are rightful of this should be for us, that they do not take the name of Allah to be the name of Allah Ta'ala. They think we are due to it and we are rightful that we should have these things. हालांकि इस किस्म की बड़ाई सिर्फ अल्लाह की ज़ात को शाया है. So being Allah Ta'ala, that He has all the good attributes, He has no defects, He has no faults. So this, that the being better than everyone, that only is for Allah Ta'ala and no one else. क्योंकि वही है जिसको कुदरत और बुजुर्गी हासिल है. Because Allah Ta'ala is all powerful and Allah Ta'ala is all honorable, that He has all the good attributes, good qualities, He has no faults. And on the other side, as human beings, we are full of faults, weaknesses. If you look at this is why Rasulullah said that your faults, looking into your own faults stops from looking into people's faults. If you look into our weaknesses, if you look into our faults, our shortcomings, then inshallah ta'ala it will create humbleness in us and take out pride. जो किसी दूसरे को हासिल नहीं, the power Allah Ta'ala has, the honor which Allah Ta'ala has, no one else has that. So in comparison to Allah Ta'ala, no one has the right to think of himself to be great, honorable and better than other people. बस बड़ाई हक़ ताला के हक़ में तो तारीफ़ की सिफत है. That to be great for Allah Ta'ala is something admirable. और मखलूक के हक़ में सिफत मज़मूमा है. And for a human being, creatures, for them to think I am better, I am great, I am greatest, that is something criticizable. Just like a slave and a master. So the slave starts to think I'm better than my master. One can understand from here. So that is a pride in the slave. He's a slave, so he should take himself to be slave. He should bow himself. He should lower himself in front of his master, and he should realize his position. But if he goes out of his position and he's a slave, but he thinks to be the master, he behaves like a master, then that is pride, and one can imagine what the master will do with him. Same with us, that we are human beings, we are creatures of Allah Ta'ala, and we are under the hands of Allah Ta'ala. So our attitude should be of just like the slave in front of master. So our attitude should be same in front of Allah Ta'ala. We are makhluk of Allah Ta'ala, and we are creatures of Allah Ta'ala, we are servants of Allah Ta'ala. This should keep us in our place. क्योंकि बड़ा समझता है जो उसको हासिल नहीं और न उसका मुस्तहिक. Just like a slave, he thinks himself to be big, he thinks himself to be great, so that is pride and arrogance which does not suit him. बड़ाई और इज्जत और अजमत व रफ़अत सिवाय कुदरत वाले बादशाह के किसी को सजावार नहीं. That to be think wants to be great, honorable or powerful, that is not like to anyone except Allah Ta'ala. Just in a very simple way, just like for a slave to think, I'm the greatest, I'm the best. So if he thinks like that and he brings it on his tongue, what will people do? They will laugh at him, because people know his position, he's a slave. And he's behaving in such a way, he takes him to be great, he takes him to be honorable, such a things. So when he brings these things out with his tongue and action, instead of being admired, instead of being respected, people will laugh at him and will make a joke of him. Exactly like the shaitan, we can see he became a joke. He came with the same thing in front of Allah Ta'ala. He showed his arrogance and he took out that I'm the great, I'm the best, etc. So we can see where he went. Where he reached, that was his downfall. So exactly in the same way, being makhluk, being creature of Allah Ta'ala, and he takes it to be the best, the greatest, the most honorable, he's making joke of himself, and Allah will make him a joke. He also, just like shaitan, Allahumma hafizna, was made a joke. फिर भला जो बंदा हो, ममलूक हो, कमज़ोर हो, आजिज़ हो, कि किसी चीज़ पर भी कुदरत न रखता हो, किबर और बड़ाई उसकी हालत को कहाँ ज़ेबा हो सकती है. So Allah Ta'ala is all powerful. Allah has no faults, no defects. So the greatness is suitable to Allah Ta'ala. And opposite of that, as human beings, we are full of weaknesses, we are full of faults, we are full of dependent on upon Allah Ta'ala and other things. So being in such a condition, and still he thinks, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, I'm the most honorable, it does not suit him. तो जब बंदे ने तकब्बुर किया तो गोया अल्लाह ताला के साथ मुकाबला किया. So when a person, human being, he starts to think of himself, I'm great, and he is comparing himself with Allah Ta'ala. Just like a slave, he takes him like a master, and he is comparing himself with the master. So one can understand that is out of his way. उस सिफत के मुतालिक जो सिर्फ उसी के जलाल को शाया है, और उसकी मिसाल ऐसे जैसे कोई गुलाम अपने बादशाह का ताज उठाकर अपने सर पर रख दे. The example that being a human being, being a makhluk of Allah Ta'ala, and he thinks of himself to be great, he behaves as though he's the greatest. So example of that person is like a slave who puts on the crown of the king on his head. The slave of the king, so he's a slave, but he went out of his way and he went to his head and he put the crown of the king on his head. So will that raise him? It will raise his position, or it will drop him? What will the king do with him? और उसके तख्त पर बैठ जाए, and being a slave, he put the crown of the king on his head and he sat on the throne of the king. So one can understand the anger of the king upon that person. तो वो गुस्से का किस कदर मुस्तहिक होगा. how much the king will become angry upon him, what will the king do with him? He will become traitor. और किस दर्जा वबाल और रुसवाई का निशाना बनेगा, and how much calamity will come over him, and how much disgrace will come over him. So people who know he's a slave and this is how he's behaving, so by doing such a thing he will not acquire respect and honor in people's eyes. In fact, people will laugh at him, he'll make a joke of himself and he will degrade himself even more. So it's an example same with us, that we being makhluk of Allah Ta'ala and try to become, na'udhu in comparison with Allah Ta'ala, he's disgracing himself and he is fooling himself. और कितनी सख्त जुर्रत की उसने अपने मौला पर, and doing such a thing, how reckless he has become over his master. और किस कदर कभी और बुरा फेल है, and how bad and evil his action is. He's a slave and he has made himself to be the king, the master. जिसका वो मुर्तकिब हुआ, what he has done, और इसी की तरफ रिवायत इशारा कर रही है, and this is something which comes in Hadith Sharif, जिसको इमाम मुस्लिम ने हज़रत अबू हुरैरा रज़ी अल्लाह तआला से रिवायत किया है कि फरमाया रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने, हक़ ताला फरमाते हैं, बड़ाई और अज़मत मेरी चादर है, greatness and honor is my shawl. Just like a person wraps himself with a shawl, Allah says, I am great and I am honorable because I have all the good attributes. I have no defects, I have no faults. पर जिस शख्स ने उसमें से एक शय के मुतालिक भी मेरा मुकाबला किया तो मैं उसको आग में दाखिल करूँगा. So this is only for Allah Ta'ala, greatness and honors. So if somebody tries or somebody thinks he is great and he tries to acquire the honor, then he is competing with Allah Ta'ala. Allah Ta'ala says, I will throw him in the fire of hell. Very simple, just mentioned above, like a slave being a slave, but he takes him to be the master and he adopts the ways of the master. What will the master do with him? Or even might chop his head off or punish him in a very severe way. So sometimes a person goes to the extent of saying with him, who's better than me? I'm better than everyone. I'm greater. I'm greatest. So this is a very, very far. He has gone very far. Sometimes a person does not say with his tongue, but his attitude, his behavior shows he thinks himself to be something. So that is also bad. Or Imam Muslim, we should remember all the time, we are makhluk, we are creatures of Allah Ta'ala. Ya ayyuhan nas antumul fuqara ila Allah wallahu al-ghaniyyul hamid. You are muhtaj towards Allah Ta'ala. You are in need of Allah Ta'ala in everything. And Allah Ta'ala is be-niyaz. He is not of need of anything from anyone. So if a thought comes, I'm something, I'm special, I'm better, and straight away think into this verse that we are muhtaj of everything. It's Allah Ta'ala's puzzle that everything happens on its time. When, for example, we go for urination, we relieve ourselves, the urine comes out easily, we don't think of it anything. But when sometimes a person goes for urine and this urine stops, now look, he starts to scream and shout, I'm dying, and do something. Now he's begging to the doctors, says Allah, وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا. If you try to count the ni'mas of Allah Ta'ala, you will not be able to count it. Have you ever thought of it? You go to toilet for urine and the urine out comes out so easily and we come out comfortably. Have you ever thought about it? If the urine stopped, what will happen? You start to scream from the toilet, come help me, I can't urine, my urine has stopped. So he said, everything that we take these things for granted and we do not think. This is the meaning. That the ni'mas of Allah Ta'ala, in ni'mat there is a ni'mat. Our mind does not go towards it, we take it for granted and we don't make shukr of Allah Ta'ala. But when the opposite of that happens, then we realize how great that ni'mat is, how great that ni'mat was when that ni'mat was taken away. It's Arabic saying, Qadrun ni'mati ba'da zawalin ni'mati. A ni'mat is appreciated, a ni'mat is valued when that ni'mat is taken away. So, the sensible person is, when he has the ni'mat, he recognizes the ni'mat of Allah Ta'ala, he values it, and he does not abuse it. Youth, at the moment, mashallah, you are young, but at the moment we can see how am I using my youth. When the youth will go, then person will realize the value of the youth. So everything that usually when the ni'mat is there, the ni'mat is not even taken to be ni'mat. We take it for granted. But when that ni'mat is taken away, now the person realizes, and because the ni'mat is taken away, the trouble, the difficulty he has to go through, now he realizes how great that ni'mat was. और इमाम मुस्लिम ने हज़रत इब्न मसऊद रज़ियल्लाहु अन्हु से रिवायत की है कि फरमाया रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने, जन्नत में दाखिल न होगा वो शख्स जिसके दिल में ज़र्रा बराबर भी तकब्बुर होगा. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that person will not enter into Jannat who has a little amount of pride in him. Meaning even if he is a Muslim, but he has pride in him, first that pride will be cleaned and cleared in Jahannam. Just like a metal, it has rust. So the ironmonger, he puts it in the furnace to burn away the rust. And then he uses the metal exactly in the same way. A person is a Muslim and pious and everything, but if he has a kibr in him, pride in him, with that pride, because Jannat is no place for pride. So first that person will put into Jahannam, and that pride will be burnt away from him, and then he will enter into Jannat. So while living, and as mentioned, that the pride is in the heart, and one cannot recognize pride directly, but his action shows, his behavior shows. So Allah, those people Allah has given basirat, they recognize from his action. As I mentioned before, as Mashraf Litani rahmatullah alayhi, as I said to one of his murid, that I think you have pride in you. Murid said no, he was an alim. He said, no, Hadhrat, I don't have pride in him. Hadhrat became quiet. It's like somebody goes to a doctor and the doctor says, but I think you have this illness. He says, no, I don't have this illness. So the doctor won't go forward to do his treatment because he's not accepting. So that person said, no, I don't have pride in me. Hadhrat became fine then by. So when he's not, so time passed, years passed. After some time, after some years, he came to Hadhrat and said, Hadhrat, you have told me this, I have pride, now I realize, now I understand, and now I accept I have pride. Hadhrat said, Bhai, what nuksan have you made to me? If you had accepted at that time, your treatment would have started, where would you have reached? But because you said no, your treatment was not made, and it stopped you. So this is a person who wants to make Islam himself. So people like us, usually if somebody says you got pride, will you accept it? No, I don't have pride. So, this is such a subtle matter that's very, very difficult to. The person cannot recognize himself, he cannot treat it himself, but at least big matters. For example, he sees someone, he doesn't like to make salam to him. It's a sign of pride. If that person makes salam, he doesn't want to reply back. That's a sign of pride. Somebody wants to talk with him, he turns his face away from him. Many, many different matters. From there, so Allah, to whom Allah has given basirat, understanding, they recognize and they realize. That Rasulullah said, that person will not enter into Jannat in whose heart there is a little amount of takabbur, little of pride. As I said, the kibr is in the heart, but the behavior from that, it is recognized that whether this person has pride or not in him. बस एक शख्स ने अर्ज किया कि या रसूल अल्लाह, हर इंसान को पसंद होता है उसका कपड़ा अच्छा हो और उसका जूता अच्छा हो, तो क्या ये भी तकब्बुर है? So when Rasulullah mentioned this, one person said, Ya Rasulullah, that every person likes his clothes are good, his shoes are good. So liking good things, is that also pride? Somebody likes to wear good clothes, somebody likes to wear good shoes, etc. So is that pride also? Is that a sign that this person is a proudful person, arrogant person? आप सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने फरमाया कि अल्लाह ताला साहिब जमाल है और जमाल को पसंद करते हैं. Surah said, Allah Ta'ala is beautiful and Allah Ta'ala likes beauty. So if somebody likes to wear good clothes, that's beauty, that's not pride. Somebody likes to wear good shoes, so that is harm. Not with that people admire him, people turn towards him, and that is all pride, takabbur. But just in itself, people's nature are different. Some people, they're satisfied with simple clothes. Some people, they like good quality clothes. So just liking and because of that, using that, that is not pride. But if somebody wears good clothes, like it's called prestige, prestigious clothes, prestigious car, show to other people that I'm a big person. So if somebody puts on good clothes so that other people admire him, other people praise him, then that is kibr. A mobile, so nowadays is very common. So somebody, he's got interest and he got desire, I have a good mobile. So just mobile in itself, that's not pride. But he wants mobile so that he can show to other people. And they, oh, nobody has mobile like that. Oh, such expensive mobile. So if he buys a mobile or he gets from his father with the intention of showing to the people, so that people praise him and say good about him, then that is pride. But if somebody, he likes the mobile just for himself, not to show to other people, then that is not pride. So regarding everyday matter, for car, for that matter, somebody is content with a simple car. That is sufficient for his everyday routine, everyday duty. But if somebody wants a good car to show to other people, that front of his house there is a big car, people say, oh, he's a big person, he's a wealthy person. So if a person buys a good car, big car because of that, then that is a sign of pride and riyah. So Rasulullah replied to him that Allah Ta'ala is beautiful and Allah Ta'ala likes beauty. Meaning if somebody wears good clothes just for his sake, then that is not kibr. Somebody wears good shoes, etc. Somebody uses a good car just for that, because of his liking, that is not pride. तकब्बुर तो हक बात से नफरत करने और लोगों को हकीर समझने का नाम है. Then Rasulullah explained what is takabbur. So two things, that the truth comes in front of him, he recognizes this is true, but he is not prepared to accept it. For example, few students are making takrar. One of them is making takrar, they are listening to him. While he's making takrar, he made the tarjuma wrong. So one of the students, his companion said, "Bhai, the tarjuma of this lafz is not this. This is the tarjuma." And he recognizes that he's saying is right. And I made a wrong tarjuma. But now he feels that if I accept it, then it will disgrace me, it will bring me down. So just because of it, he said, no, the tarjuma I've done is right. What I explained is right. So that is takabbur. That the right comes in front of him, he recognizes that that is right. But now his kibr stops him from accepting it. So this is that the truth comes in front of him, somebody does something wrong, and his ustad or his father, anybody asks him, he recognizes, he knows, but just to cover himself, he refuses, he does not accept, he rejects. That is takabbur. For example, another example, he owes money to someone, he had taken some debt, or he had bought something on credit from shop, etc. He has not paid. Now that person says, I gave you curse, I gave you debt, and you bought something on credit from my shop, you are not paid back. And he will remembers, and he realizes that what he's saying is true. But just to keep his face, he says, no, I'm not taking any debt from you, I'm not taking anything on credit from you. So one is lying, and another is kibr, that the truth has come in front of him, but he's not prepared to accept it. So that's one indication, one sign of pride, not to accept the truth which has come in front of him, and and he rejects it just for his ego, so that he doesn't have to look down. और लोगों को हकीर समझना, and to belittle people, he is nothing. He looks at people's faults. He has this fault in him, he has this fault in him, he has this fault in him. So it's in the heart, but now it will show up in his attitude, it will show up in his behavior, that whoever he thinks to be of no caliber, then he will not like to make salam to him. If that person will make salam to him, he will not like to answer, and if he asks him for something, he will not turn towards him. So these are out indication of kibr and pride. Or Imam, the words we use towards other people, from there we can understand. If you have respect for someone, then one will not use disrespectful word towards that person. When we use disrespectful word, we say wrong words to people, pagan, donkey, for example. So what does that show? He has no respect for that person, he belittles that person. So outer behavior, it shows that this person, he has kibr, pride in him. और इमाम तिरमिज़ी ने हज़रत अमर बिन शुएब रज़ी अल्लाह अन्हु से रिवायत की है कि वो अपने वालिद से रिवायत करते हैं, और वो अपने वालिद से अब्दुल्लाह बिन अमर बिन आस रज़ी अल्लाह तआला अन्हु, और वो जनाब रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम से कि आपने फरमाया कि क़यामत के दिन तकब्बुर करने वालों को इंसान की सूरत में चींटियों की तरह हशर में लाया जाएगा. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the people who had pride in them on the day of Qiyamah, their figure will be a figure of a human being, but they will be brought in the size of an ant. Ant is very small. So whatever type of sin person will commit, the punishment will be according to that. He wanted to become big in the world, he wanted to become famous, he wanted to be admired by people, he wanted to be known by all the world, so he wanted to become big. Allah will punish him by making him small as possible. That the figure will be of a human being, but it will be the size of an ant. कि हर जगह से जिल्लत व ख्वारी उस पर छाई हुई होगी, and he will be disgraced and he will be belittled from all. So you can imagine, Allahumma hafizna, if any human being is turned into an ant, how will he feel? So meaning the punishment will be according to the sin. He wanted to become big in this world, Allah will punish him by making small as possible. और उनको जहन्नम के जेल खाने की तरफ जिसका नाम बोलस से धकेला जाएगा. So and they will be thrown into the Jahannam, which is called bolus. Jahannam has different sections. So for such a people, the section in which they will be put is called bolus. कि सख्त आग उन पर हावी होगी, that the severe fire of Jahannam will be burning upon them. और उनको दोज़खियों के पीठ और तीन खबाल पिलाई जाएगी, and the drink will be the pus which will come out of the other Jahannami people's body, and they will be given that to drink. So they wanted to become big, they'll be like in the world also. If somebody, he stands up and says, I'm the king, so what will the real king do? He will get in court, put into prison, and he will be punished in a very severe way. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallah wa bihamdika, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.